Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to my presentation. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Nur Akila Syairah binti Anwar. My matric number is 1182694. We were delighted to be in this online presentation to tell you about issues in career. This presentation will highlight about issues in career that we found in Malaysia and the whole world. Before that, let me introduce my group member that consisting of 5 people, namely Nur Shamimi Syairah binti Zulkifli. Her matric number is 1182447. Nur Syafiqah binti Mustafa 1182545. Nur Anati Ismi binti Zakaria 1182546. Fatih Nur Syairah binti Hazri 1182692. Okay, I will begin on definition of issues in career. Issues, according to 4th edition of Oxford Dictionary in 1989, is being determined as an important topic for discussion through a point in question which is a vital political, topical, extra issue. And for the career, according to Mulhall S. 2014 had been defined as a highly and rigidly structured society. A career consists objectively of a series of status and clearly defined offices instead in a freer one. The individual has more latitude for creating his own position or choosing from a number of existing ones. And according to Schrader AMT 2006, issues in career is an issues which comes to the force during the early years of career or any time to make we explore and developing the career anchor more. Okay, based on the slide, this is the list of the issues in career that we found in Malaysia. There are consist of 9 issues in career that being increasing year by year in Malaysia and the whole world. Okay, now I will begin to you all and explain to you all about the first issue that been highlighted and be common among people at the workplace. First is ageism at the workplace. According to the World Health Organization, ageism at the workplace is employers often have negative attitude and stereotyping towards older workers. Age discrimination present even though older workers are not necessarily less healthy, less educated, less skillful or productive than their younger counterparts. While there is a level of awareness surrounding ageism in the workplace, it is almost entirely focused on discrimination toward older people, even though the probability of older workers increasing year by year. According to Anissa Abbas and etc. 2018, issues in ageism are increasing because the world population indicated a decline in the world's fertility rate from 2.47 children per woman during the period 2015 to 2020 to 2.25 children per woman in 2045 to 2050, while life expectancy is found that have increased between 2000 to 2005 and 2010 and 2015. So, there are strategies in combating ageism in the workplace according to UNECE 2009, which is first, removing ageist provision in the legal and regulatory framework and enforcing implementation of Equality Acts while promoting awareness about employee rights and support available to victims of age discrimination. Second, addressing prejudice and negative stereotypes about older workers through research on ageism and awareness raising campaign that dispel the myth about older workers, improve their image, highlight their positive contribution to the labor market, and promote the benefit of age diversity and exclusiveness. And the third is encouraging age-inclusive and age-diverse workplaces by providing financial incentives to employers, developing capacity for age management, and fostering partnerships with relevant stakeholders to facilitate more far-reaching and long-lasting change. And the last one, which is stated in WHO 2020, abolish mandatory retirement age. Age is not a reliable indicator when judging a worker's potential productivity or employability. The OECD has recommended the eventual elimination of all mandatory retirement policies in order to benefit workers, employers, and economies. Many countries, including those that have increased workforce participation among older people, still have mandatory retirement age or support industry with mandatory retirement age. The second issue in career is breach of trust. According to Bijestan, S.A. Truhan and V. McCarthy, 2010, breach of trust is regarding of the source or intentions. Employees may interpret such as incident as act of betrayal. Such acts of betrayal can lead to employee distrust and declines in worker self-confidence, communication, cooperation, and level of effort. Larger acts can lead to sabotage, lawsuits, and loss of organizational reputation because the act of securing the trust of people, etc., by deception. Barriers to building a culture of organizational trust and organizations, employees, policies, and practices may contribute to the perceptions of disappointment and breach of trust. According to Bijestan 2010, the barriers to building a culture of organizational trust are employees with personal agenda, employees with volatile personality that reflect a need for vengeance, employees who intentionally clutter communication channels, employees who are incompetent or perceive their co-workers or management to be incompetent, an organizational environment with a history or underperformance, complex situations, numerous reorganizations or management changes. And the last one is organizations with inflexible or inconsistent organizational policy and standards. However, as I wrote in the full report, according to Islamic perspective, we are ordered by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to do something sincerely because performing duties with good intentions and because of Allah will be worshipped and earn rewards. Allah Almighty says, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ, meaning whoever does good, even if it weighs of particle, will see the reward of that good. However, whoever commits a crime too heavy in size will see the reward. Now, I will continue on the third issues in career that is also common among people at the workplace is workplace bullying. Numerous nations around the world have considered work environment bullying as a vital national motivation. This issue has been broadly examined by researchers who have decided that bullying extremely influences an organization. Regardless, bullying has been increasingly recognized as a serious problem in the working environment. In Malaysia, the International Labour Organization reported that workplace bullying has not reached a critical level yet, according to Nur Izzati, 2017. So, why workplace bullying happen among people at your workplace? So this is a factor which will be highlighted in one research by Nur Izzati in 2017. The first is high self-esteem. High self-esteem is always associated with aggressive behavior, and by contrast, low self-esteem is associated with depressive reaction. It shows that people with high self-esteem will be a braver to do something bad, to do something harm towards their workmates. And the second is learned behavior. Most of perpetrators have experienced being victims, and thus the disappointments they suffer from being harmed and demeaned and controlled by their perpetrators, heartbreak, anger, and desire for revenge. Later on, these ill behaviors serve as a justification to their actions as perpetrators. And the third one is social rejection and lack of social competency. Limited self-reflection and perspective might be significant antecedent condition to workplace bullying and were powerful factors that cause individuals to become bullies. Social rejections was positively associated with anxiety and insecurity.
Okay. Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Syafiqah binti Mustafa. Okay. As for my part, I will explain about job satisfaction and salary. Okay. We will see what is the definition of job satisfaction and salary. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, now we will see the definition of job satisfaction and salary. Okay, first, job satisfaction is the feeling of contentment or sense of accomplishment which the employee derive from his or her job. While as for the salary, the definition was based on Cambridge Advanced Learner and the Thesaurus, which is the total amount of the money that was paid to the employee every year to do their job, or maybe one payment that they receive each month as part of their job. So here we know that job satisfaction is the meaning for job satisfaction is the feeling contentment, the feeling the joy, and the feeling satisfied, the feeling of sense of accomplishment. While salary is the total amount that was paid to the employee, whether each month or every year. Okay, let's go to the next slide, which is the importance of job satisfaction and salary. Okay, now we will see the importance of job satisfaction and salary for company and also for worker. Okay, firstly, the importance of job satisfaction and salary is help build stronger, more stable, and future profitable for company. Which is, for example, the company that taking care of their employee, it will satisfy them to help the company to boost the company toward more successful. Okay, secondly, for the importance of job satisfaction and salary is the salary for worker that was paid by the employer can have a great influence on their performance. Okay, and lastly, strengthen a company in many ways. Okay, for example, the company or employer that's keeping their employees happy, this will give a positive impact on their overall performance. Okay, for this, we will see that how the importance of job satisfaction and salary to make the company more successful and to boost the performance of the worker and to bring more positive impact either to worker or to employers. Okay, now I will give to the next presenter. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatin Nur Syairah binti Hazri. Metric number 1182692 will presenting one of the issue in career, which is sexual harassment at workplace. Sexual harassment is one of the topic that is getting attention from people in the social media nowadays. Sexual harassment at workplace is one of the issues in career that should be educated in the society. The definition of sexual harassment is sexual abuse that includes a wide variety of attitudes ranging from expressions and offensive jokes, demeaning comments made based on gender stereotypes, sexual assault, and other physical violence. There are 5 forms of sexual harassment, including verbal, non-verbal, visual, psychological, and physical harassment. This sexual harassment at workplace can also affect the individual who are the victim from the sexual harasser at their workplace. Sexual harassment can give negative effects on mental and physical health of the individual. For example, the victims could feel traumatized because of they have been harassed while working. Sexual harassment could also reducing the opportunities for on-the-job learning and advancement. Such as in certain jobs, there are mentor-mentee program made by the organization to improve the employee skills. But in the concern of the risk of getting sexual harassment, the program could not be done. The individuals who are affected from sexual harassment could also force the individual to change their job, unemployment, and abandonment of well-paying careers. Burnout among employer is another issue faced by society in their career. The definition of burnout among employer is considered as a frustrating and uncomfortable situation that affects both staff and their organization. This burnout among employer could be seen in the terms of their level of commitment in their job, such as the employer used to submit his or her work on time but after having burnout, the work submitted late or delayed. Job burnout represents emotional exhaustion, loss of strength, physical weakness, psychological diseases, and many more. What make the employer having the burnout in their job? The factor of burnout among employers are because of the emotional exhaustion, which means sort of tiredness that reveals the source of tensions of the feelings that cause the reduction of the individual spirit to start a new work. Depersonalization is also the factor of burnout among employers. Means that the individual having negative reactions to various working environment that create a pessimistic attitude, feeling of being unwelcome, and creating a divide between the individuals and their job. There are ways to prevent the burnout among employer, including the strategies from the individual and the organization. The individual should make some physical or psychological changes, for example using special methods of relaxation that could be found in the internet, or may temporarily change job position and so on. Meanwhile, the organization could also making less pressure to the individuals in their job, holding suitable training courses or decreasing punishment to the employer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Anati Izni binti Zakaria. Thank you to my friend for the presentation just now. Now it's my turn to present the next issues in career, that is envy and jealousy in the workplace. Envy is a psychological state with negative individual, interpersonal, and collective consequences. In today's business climate, there are a number of influences that contribute to an uncertain work environment. Organizations that take programmatic actions to remain competitive, in some cases, can foster employee envy or jealousy. The competition for scarce resources, for time, and for promotions generates and triggers envy in most organizations too. Employees compare their benefits, advantages, and salaries with colleges through formally and informally mechanism, and differentiation promotes competition among co-workers and foster greeting feelings of envy. Okay, next we go to the ways of envy and jealousy. According to Duffy 2012, the workplace envy is conceptualized in related ways. First, situational, which refers to general envy of others in an environment. For the example, the workplace. Then as dispositional envy, which indicates to a tendency generalized across all situations, and lastly as episodic envy that shows an emotional reaction to a specific event. In organizations, envy and its work-related consequences have been realized. Envy is important in organizations is that envy is an interpersonal concept. Okay, next we go to the next slide. The effects of envy and jealousy. Grounded in social exchange theory, organizations allow both tangible and intangible exchange among coworkers. Through the exchange, envy can lead to negative outcomes. The first one is, for instance, envy reduces friendship ties and hinders knowledge sharing among coworkers. And the other consequence of envy is poor health. Envy is linked mental ill health such as depression and stress. Envy leads to poor mental health and depressive tendencies, and poor mental health engenders healthcare costs in organizations. It is demonstrated that more than 50% of the total cost is associated with poor health. Okay, so there are a few ways to overcome envy and jealousy in the workplace. First, the managers must be sensitive to common situations that arouse envy and jealousy and the factors that can be controlled. Furthermore, teams and participative management are very important. Deliberate restructurings of working relations during the past decade have fostered the growing use of teams. Thirdly, implement an incentive system that supports cooperation. Organizations can manage envy and jealousy in the workplace by designing control systems that encourage cooperation, including an appropriate incentive system. The system should rely on objective rather than subjective measures of performance. In addition, we should encourage open communication. Perceived threats that are grounded in uncertainty and fear can be dealt with via open and informative communication. Lastly, we must put high achievers in mentor positions. Employees who are highly results-oriented and thereby successful are not infrequently resent and envied by coworkers. Okay, so the next issues is career crisis among women. Researchers have tried to clarify the difference between men and women at top positions in the past, and a number of different features have been touched upon in order to explain the lack of female top executives. The discussion around this usually has two aspects. The first explains this phenomenon by indicating that women in general do not have the desire to spend as much time as men on career development. They prioritize differently and allocate their time to other activities and duties. The other aspects shifts focus and designates that the lack of women at top positions is due to the disadvantages that women face in the business world, such as resistance, negative attitudes, and from colleges, family, and media. Okay, so there are a few comparisons between male and female leaders in managing the career. For the male managers usually describe the job performance of their subordinates as series of transactions. They provide rewards for services submitted or punishment for insufficient performance. This type of leadership style is usually called transactional. Men are in generally also more expected to use power and authority that comes from their organizational positions. Okay, while for the female, women on the other hand portray themselves with characteristics that describe a transformational leadership. They want to get subordinates to transform their own self-interest into a common interest for the group. Features often related to female leaders are interpersonal skills, hard work, and personal contacts. Women are moreover argued to encourage shared power, information, and participation from everyone. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. So my name is Nur Shamimi Shahira binti Zulkifli. My metric number is 1182447. So today I will make a conclusion based on our assignment. So as the conclusion, we all have our own issue in our career, and it is a common things that happen in our life. And however, we should have our own ways, we should find our own ways to overcome, to face all the challenges, all the issue in our life, especially in our career. Because if we not find the ways to overcome all the issue, who will find the ways for us, right? Some career specialists believe that some adults, for example, children and young people, will go through for several stages of development before entering the career stages. Some people think a career is a work, a job, but for me, a career is it shows that who you are, who you wanna be, your career, what's your career. That's a career for me. And whatever your career are, whatever you are doing, who are you, you need to remember that there will always be an issue in anything you do. So how to deal with the issue? Firstly, you need to know your potential, and you need to find your own ways to overcome, to face all the issue in your career, so that you can be better, you can do better, you can perform well in your career. That's all from me. Thank you.